Hi, good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Before we start, students, please confirm if all of you can hear me clearly. Yes, students, I want all of you to confirm if you can hear me clearly so I can proceed with the session. All right, that's perfect. Thank you for the quick response, everyone. So, welcome all of you towards the revision session we're going to have for Management Accounting Techniques, AAT Level 3, on behalf of KVM. So, today's lesson plan is that we will be going through practice assessment for the exam, management accounting techniques. So we will be looking at some questions and also then discuss the answers. And during the session, I would encourage your participation and we'll try to do maximum questions from this assessment. Initially, we will talk about the overview of the assessment, the structure, the marks, and everything. And then we will start solving the questions. The session today is going to be divided into two parts, like our usual classes. We will be having some questions discussed in the first half of the class. There will be a short break, and then we have the second half of the class, in which we are going to discuss the remainder of the assessment questions. Before talking about the assessment in detail, make sure students you're ready with your notebooks, pen, calculator, whatever material you're using to note down the concepts or to help solve the questions. A brief introduction about myself is that my name is Amna Zaheer and I'm an ACCA member. I have been teaching accounting qualifications, professional accounting qualifications internationally for more than 8 years now. So I hope the session today will be helpful for all of you and will add value in your exam preparations. So coming to the initial part today, which is just um, an introduction to the assessment structure. Talking about the management accounting techniques exam, the assessment duration is 2.5 hours, and like other AD exams, the passing marks are 70. This assessment will have 6 tasks, and we have a clear guideline of the tasks that which chapter, which topic they're going to cover. Task 1 will be about costing techniques, and it will have learning outcomes from introduction to management accounting, material labor cost, absorption costing, job badge and service costing, and margin costing. And this is going to be a big question. It's for 24 marks. Again, it's we know the structure of AT assessment questions is each task is divided into so many subtasks. Then task 2 for attribution of costs, it's from allocation and absorption. Again, it's a big question, 24 marks. Then third question is for short-term decision making. It comes mainly from chapter of cost classification, marginal costing, short-term decision making, again 24 marks. So the first 3 questions are all 24 marks, the bigger questions in the assessment. Task 4 will be from the section of budgeting and cash management. It is for 16 marks. So if I just quickly total the marks for the first 4 tasks, so we can also then add up for the upcoming task number 5 and 6. So it's 24 for 3 tasks and 16 for the 4. So till here we've covered 88 marks. Next, we have task 5 from budgeting again, but with spreadsheets. Task 6, budgeting spreadsheets. So we can see spreadsheet is also a major area of the syllabus. So task 5 and 6 will always be from budgeting plus spreadsheets. And this is for 16 and 16 marks now. In the total assessment, if we find out the marks, so this assessment of management accounting techniques is of 120 marks. And we need to get 70% of that. Just give me a while, students. So it's for 120 marks, and if you want to get at least 70%, it means how much marks should we score correct? 70% of these marks means we should attempt 84 marks correctly to pass the assessment at least. This was again an overview. We have 6 tasks in the assessment, and in today's session of revision, we'll try to do maximum out of these 6 in the time we have. Now, coming to the assessment, you would have already received the copies of this assessment on your email. So it's the BBB Practice Assessment 1. So we'll start with task number 1 initially. And again, students, I want all of you to stay participative throughout the discussions. Task 1, 24 marks. This task is about costing techniques. Part A1 is identify whether the statements are true or false. First one, batch costing is a system that is used in a business that provides individual one-off products for customers. Is this true or false for batch costing, students? Do we use it for specific, customized, single customer products? Very good. This is false because in batch costing, it is customized according to customer's demand, but it's not a single product. It's a group of items. That's why it's a batch. Next, service costing often involves the use of composite cost units. Yes, everyone. What about this one? So this is going to be true. Perfect. Because in service costing, since the output is not tangible, unlike traditional cost unit calculation, here we will be using composite cost unit. Third one, job costing keeps a separate records of costs incurred on each job. Yes. Is this true of all students? Excellent. This is true. And identify which two would use job costing: hospital, electrician, car manufacturer, or plumber. The hospital will use service costing. It provides services. Electrician, it's job costing because whenever we're using the work of electrician, painter, plumber, it's always customized. We know exactly what specifications are, what the problem is to be dealt with. So they are actually jobs. So here the answer was clear actually. Electrician and plumber. Hospital uses service costing. Car manufacturer uses the badge costing in case of customization, or it normally uses process costing. Then a business issues indirect materials to production from inventory. How do we record this? When you use material, remember, credit is in the inventory or the material account. So they're using material, no matter it's direct or indirect, it's always going to be a credit in inventory. Next thing is it's indirect. Remember, if it was direct, we debit production account. If it is indirect, we debit overheads account. These are the entries we have learned in the course in the relevant chapters. Next, the metal extrusion department of Claridge Limited uses batch costing for some of the products. Product DD1 is made in one batch of 62,000 units, and the budgeted costs are as follows. So this is the number of units we have in the batch, 62,000, and we have the budgeted cost of the batch. Means this is the cost not of making single unit, this is the total cost of making 62,000 units. Now, You have direct material, direct labor, variable overheads, fixed manufacturing overheads, fixed admin, selling, distribution costs, and total cost. Calculate the total cost of 1 unit of DD1. First, total costs are needed. They are already given. They're asking to find cost of 1 unit, means divide the total cost with the number of it. The students, I want you to tell me the answer here and tell me to two decimal places. Let's do it on the calculator. Excellent. I've got some answers as well. So 223, 200 divide with 62,000. Wait, we get 3.6 and two decimal places, we'll write 3.60. Calculate the full absorption cost of 1 unit. Means only talking about absorption cost. In absorption cost, we add all the production costs, whether fixed or variable. It means we'll add direct material, direct labor, variable overhead, fixed manufacturing overhead. We just will not add the fixed non-production costs. So only add material, labor, variable overheads, and fixed manufacturing overheads. So if I quickly find a total of these costs, it's going to be 77,500, 83,700, 12,400, and 31,000. We get 204,600. And we have to divide this with the number of units, 62,000. So we get 20400 divided by 62,000, 3.30. Perfect. Now they're asking calculate the marginal cost of 1 unit. In marginal cost, we will not add the fixed cost. So basically, it's these three costs, don't add them anymore. Remember, whether they're asking marginal absorption costing, never add non-production cost. Within production cost, the only difference is in absorption cost, we add fixed manufacturing overheads, and we don't add them in marginal cost. So we need the marginal cost initially, it is 77,500 plus 83,700 plus 12,400 plus 31,000. 204, sorry, we did not have to add 31,000. 173,600 divided with 62,000. 173,600 divided with 62,000, marginal cost is 2.80. Next, they're asking calculate the marginal production cost of one batch. So we already have the total for marginal cost, it's this one. Because they're asking for one batch, means 60, the total. So we don't need to do any extra working for this since we already have separated out and total the marginal cost. I can just write it simply here. Calculate the full absorption cost. Again, we did it here. Remember when they ask for 1 unit, take the total cost, divide with the number of units. If they ask for the entire batch, total the cost and tell the pay. Then we have part C1, which of the following means the total of direct costs. So yes, I'm giving them numbers as A, B, C, and D. Can you tell me what is the name given to the sum of direct costs? All right, so it's D, the correct answer. Total of direct cost is called as the prime cost. Okay. Production cost means all the production costs, material, labor, and it's also including fixed overheads. Okay. So direct costs do not include overhead. Prime cost or direct cost means direct material, direct labor, direct expense, only no overheads. Yes, if they ask us about indirect cost, then answer would have been overhead. Then, which of the following principles means being straightforward and honest? Again, students answer with the options A, B, C, D to make it quick. So, accountants should be straightforward and honest in their business dealings. So, what is this the definition of? Objectivity, integrity, confidentiality, or competence? Excellent. That is integrity. Next, which of the following shows how particular sections of business generate sales, costs, and profits? If we have to show, again, answer with A, B, C, D. If we have to show performance in terms of sales, cost, and profit of different segments of the business. Excellent. It's segment reporting. Segmented figures, segment reporting is you are reporting the cost separately for different branches, different product lines, different areas of the business. So this was all for the task one. So you can notice, um, even this was a big task for 24 marks. If you are clear with the concepts, you can do it ahead of time. You can do it quickly. And again, if you're clear with the concepts, you're not going to be stuck anywhere, and you can be easily navigating through the question with the correct answers. So make sure you prepare well for the assessment, for which doing maximum practice questions is important. Try doing all the questions from the course book and the question bank and all the practice assessments to be clear with the concept. Let's move on to the task number 2 now. Also, one more thing, if I show you the answers of questions we've done, so we can, if we quickly just see the figures 3.6, 3.3, 2.8, 2.3, and then they got all the answers right. Now, moving on to task 2. This task is about attributing costs. Claridges Limited apportions overhead using the most appropriate basis. Complete the table below to identify a suitable basis for allocating or apportioning each overhead. These are the list options we have. Depreciation of equipment, factory space, head office space, and net value of equipment relevant to the machines here, but let's see. Employees, orders, production runs. So from all the given parameters of performance, this one seems to be the best for equipment. So here it will be net book value of equipment. Next, power for production machinery. Production machinery power usage. Best basis in the given list. Rent and rates for admin department. Factory floor space. Now, factory is a production department. They're asking for admin. So next we have head office. It will be head office floor space. Then equipment insurance. Again, it should be something related to equipment. Net book value of equipment. Canteen cost, number of employees. So from the list, always choose the most appropriate. We can see the same here. We have that. Next one is about the working of allocation and apportionment. Let's see the details. And you should always expect this question in the exam. They will always ask about overhead allocation, apportionment, or reapportionment. Planetis Limited has already allocated and apportioned its current overhead costs for the next period as shown in the table below. These costs have yet to be apportioned to the two departments, glass molding and glass extrusion. So allocation and apportionment is done. Uh, I think it's about reapportionment. Let's see. 45% of the maintenance time is spent on maintaining production in the glass molding, the remainder in extrusion. So yes, it's reapportionment. For maintenance, 45% on the molding, and it means 55% on extrusion. Then they're telling about the stores. The stores cost center makes 35% for molding, 65 for extrusion. So till here we can see it's step down, not step down direct method of reapportionment because the service centers are not working with each other. If that would have been the case, we use step down method means we give a ranking in apportionment. General admin spread equally. There is no reciprocal sharing means we should use the direct method, not the step down method. All the cost information is given, so let's start one by one. We can see all the overhead allocation apportionment working is given. We just need to reapportion maintenance, stores, and admin, and then total it. So let's start with maintenance. Total maintenance overheads have become 166,000. So we will subtract it from the maintenance column. And whatever was the percentage given, we will split between molding and extrusion. So for maintenance, the percentage was 45 for molding and 55 for extrusion. Just writing here 45, 55 as a reminder to calculate. 166,000 into 45%, 74,700, and remainder is for the extrusion department. It's 91. Then we have to reapportion services. Other stores, the cost is 99,050. And the percentage for stores that is given for reapportionment is 3565. So now 9950 at 35%, we get 34668. I'm rounding it up. Sixty-four three eight two. And then general admin, the total of general admin is 265,800. And it told us in the requirement that they're equally sharing this cost. So it will be 265,800 divided by 2, 132,900. And last, we'll have to find the total for these two departments. Molding, already it was 1,341,671. Plus 747,000 plus 34668 plus 132,900. 1,583,939. And then we have the extrusion, which is 1,283,829. plus 91 300 plus 64 382 plus 132 900 1572 411. So these are going to be the figures after reapportionment. And before I continue to the next part, students, are all of you clear with the discussions of questions you've done so far? Please let me know. All right, that's brilliant. Thank you for the quick response, everyone. Now, moving to the next one. Claritas Limited has the following information about two of its departments. So you can see quarter one, and then we have two departments, metal bashing and metal extrusion. We have labor hours, machine hours budgeted, actual labor hours and actual machine hours, budgeted overheads and actual overheads. So from the type of data given, it seems like a question for under or over absorption of overheads, because when it's about actual overheads, budgeted overheads, so we'll have to do it. Now coming to P1, calculate the budgeted overhead absorption rate for metal bashing based upon machine hours, and for metal extrusion based on labor hours. So they're asking for overhead absorption rate. Students, for OAR, we always use budgeted data. For bashing, they're saying use budgeted overheads and machine hours. So the data we have to use for the first part is budgeted overheads and budgeted machine hours for this department. For the other one, they're asking us to find OAR using labor hours, budgeted labor. So students, I want all of you to try solving this. Take a minute or two and tell me your answers for both departments OAR. I'll wait for your responses and I'll start discussion after that. All right, to students, so if I start solving it, it's going to be for the first department, overheads are 814,990 divided with the machine hours. And extrusion, it is 445,500 divided with 247. But I'm starting getting the answer. So let me just quickly do that. For metal bashing, it's 814,990 divided with 1314. So we get 62. And because they asked it two decimal places, 62.00. Next one is 445 500 divided by 24,750, 18. So we got OARs as per their requirement, whether you have to use the labor hours or the machine hours. Further scrolling down, they're saying, now suppose for quarter two, now instead of quarter one, they're giving quarter two information. That the overhead absorption rate for metal extrusion has been based on machine hours. It is 55. Actual overheads are 460 to 500, and actual machine hours are also given. So in this particular question, we don't need to refer back to the information in the previous part because they're giving quarter two information themselves. So now they're asking for overheads incurred actually. The actual overheads were 460 to 500. And they're asking for overheads absorbed. The formula for absorbed overheads is OAR into actual activity. Now, OAR here was given 55 per hour based on machine hours. The 55, when we're multiplying, we'll also see actual machine hours, 8,500. So 55 into 8,500, 467,500. They're asking the difference between absorbed and incurred. 5,000. And absorbed overheads are more than actual, so it's over absorption. Again, in this kind of a question, if they're changing the quarter and giving information within the question scenario, do not scroll back to the previous data because that was quarter one and it's irrelevant for this part. Now, third part, in the last part of task two, refer to the information for quarter one at the start of the task and complete the following. Now they come to quarter one again. In quarter one, overheads for metal bashing or over or under absorbed. So let's take metal bashing. First part, we need OAR for metal bashing. That we calculated for quarter one was 62.00, and it was based upon um, machine hours. Second step will be we'll find absorbed overheads for metal bashing quarter one, in which we'll do OAR multiply with actual machine hours of that department. OAR is 62. Let's see the machine hours. Actual machine hours. Actual machine hours were 12,936. Eight zero two zero three two. Last step is finding under over absorption. So we'll have to do absorbed overheads minus actual overheads. Absorbed overheads are 802,032 minus actual overhead. 789,765. 12,267. 12,267 is the difference. And here we can see absorbed overheads are more than actual, so it's over absorption. And with this, task two is also complete. If I quickly go to the answer file here, you can quickly see the answers. 62, 18, 5,000 over absorbed, 12 to 67 over absorbed. So we got all the answers correct. Again, in this course of management accounting techniques, we know there are a lot of formulas. So also it's important to memorize them. They're clearly highlighted throughout the course book wherever there is a formula to learn. Because if you remember the formulas clearly, then only you can solve the questions quickly and correctly. So this was all for task 2. Now let's move on to the task number 3. This task is about short-term decision making. The following 8 options are costs incurred by Claritas Limited during the quarter. We have to select the cost behavior that whether it is fixed, variable, semi-variable, or stepped cost. So you can answer me in the chat box using FC, AC, SVC, or simply steps. So first one, material cost 3 per unit. Yes, students, is this fixed, variable, semi-variable, or stepped? I'm waiting for your answers. So material cost, students, it's variable. Material and labor direct costs are variable because material cost will change with the number of units we are making. If we produce more units, more material. Then rent of 300 rent is in this case a fixed cost. Labor cost is variable cost. Now fourth one, telephone bill 20 per quarter plus zero point 0.5 per call. What kind of a cost structure is this? This is a semi-variable cost because we have a fixed and a variable element. Supervisor cost of 5,000 means supervisor salary 5,000, it's fixed cost. Insurance is also fixed. Machine leasing 500 for every 4,000. So it's fixed, but they're also giving a relevant range of activity that up to this much unit will stay at 500, after that will increase. So this is step cost. Even let's say in this scenario, they told a supervisor cost of 5,000 per 20 employees, then that statement would have made it step cost. But in a fixed cost, if they are not talking about activity range, then don't take it as a step cost, just mark it as a fixed cost. Because step cost is a type of a fixed cost. Next, machinery depreciation of 100 based on machine hours used. The depreciation is a fixed cost, but they're talking about machine hours. It's based on machine hours. It will make it a variable cost then. It will be a variable overhead. This was about cost behavior. We could quickly see it here. Next part of the task is another overhead is estimated to be 570,000 for the period. It contains a fixed and a variable element. The fixed element is 30% of the total cost, the rest is variable. If I just read it till here and try to split it, that the overhead is 570,000. It is semi-variable, so it has fixed and variable both the elements. They are saying fixed is 30% means variable will be 70%. I haven't just even looked at what they're asking to calculate. To understand the question better, I'm doing this analysis. So 570,000 at 30%, 171,000, 570,000 at 70%, 399,000. Now, the fixed element of the total cost is to be a portion between glass molding and glass infusion center. The fixed cost is further divided into glass molding and intrusion. I'm writing M and I here. This is the ratio. So it is now not a split according to cost behavior, but it's a departmental split they're talking about. That okay, once fixed has been separated from the fixed, 65% is molding and 35 is intrusion. So if I calculate it, fixed cost is 171,000, of which 65% is 111,150, and next is 399, 171,000 into 35%, 59,850. And they are telling for a split of this as well. The variable cost has these two departmental ratios of 46% and 54 between molding and intrusion. For the variable cost, it is 399. 46% is 183,540, and 54% 215,460. So we just have read the question carefully and converted into a flow chart with the figures. Let's see the requirement now. The fixed element for glass extrusion. I think intrusion they gave it as a mistake. It's extrusion actually. So fixed of that is this one, 59,850. Variable element for molding, variable element molding, 183,540. So nothing difficult in the question. You just had to read it clearly and do the calculations carefully to get the exact figures. If I just double check with the answers, let's see the same. Then identify whether the following statements are true or false. As activity level increase, the total semi-variable cost decreases. Now, if I imagine the graph of semi-variable cost, it's something like this. With activity increase, the graph is actually going up. This is false. As activity level increase, the semi-variable cost per unit decreases. That's true. Because if you make a per unit graph, it's actually like this. It resembles fixed cost per unit. Then choose the correct description for the items below. Break-even point. So I'm giving here options as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. So students, what I want you to do is for break-even point, given from the pick list, read all the options and tell which one is the best description for the break-even point. I'm waiting for your answers. Okay, students, I've got a variety of answers here. Let me clear it. So I got option E. Point where selling price equals variable cost. No. If it said point where selling price equals total cost, then this would have been correct. Okay. And then basically break-even point is a no profit, no loss situation. So G and H could be confusing here. So remember, if they're asking break-even point means they're talking about the volume, the H. If they asked about break-even revenue, then G. Because if you recall, we have done two calculation break-even point in terms of number of units, and break-even revenue. So they ask here about the point which is in terms of sales volume. Next, target profit. Read all the options from the pick list and tell me which one do you think explains target profit. So excess of break even over actual lots margin of safety. So let's see this clearly from the break even point is sales volume where there is no profit, no loss. Yeah, so target profit, it's A actually, because a target profit means how much profit we have actually made after covering the fixed costs. Because obviously profit in these calculations, you find the contribution total. From the contribution, you subtract the fixed cost and you get the profit. Then we have the next part. It's about the calculations related to break-even and margin of safety. Claridge Limited manufactures Alpha Pop, which has a selling price of 20. Then variable costs 12, fixed costs are given. So figures are very straightforwardly given. If you recall this chapter for break-even, it was all formula based. So you need to have all the formulas on fingertips so you can do that quickly. First one, they're asking calculate the break-even in terms of units. So the formula for that is fixed cost over contribution per unit. Just a minute, students. My pen isn't okay, it's working now. All right, so break even in terms of minutes, we need fixed cost over contribution per unit. Fixed cost is 46,000. Contribution per unit is 20 minus 12. 5750. Calculate the break even in terms of revenue. Now there are two ways we can do that. One way is doing 5750 into the selling price, which is 20. One 15,000. Or we can do the direct formula approach as well. Using the formula for finding break even in terms of revenue, it is fixed cost over CS or PV ratio. Fixed cost is 46,000. CS will be 8 over selling price. Contribution over selling price. 0.4. You can see we get the same answer. But they've used the direct formula, or we use the number of units multiplied with the selling price. Calculate the margin of safety if Claret sells 6,000 units. So margin of safety is actually budgeted sales or actual sales minus break-even sales. The budgeted sales are 6,000. Break-even is 5750, 250. If Claridge Limited wishes to make a profit of 20,000, how much units it should? So again, this was the formula we studied. Its formula is same as break-even point, but in the numerator, you will add target profit. Fixed cost of 46,000, target profit is 20,000. Divided with the contribution per unit, it's 8. 46,000 plus 20,000 divided with 8. 8250. With this task 3 is also complete. The students are all of you clear with task number 3 and all the discussions of the practice assessment so far? Yes, students, are you clear with the discussions? That's great. All right, students, let's now take a break for a few minutes and we will do the rest of the tasks after the break and primarily focus on Excel related tasks. So I'll be marking your attendance now. If you're not joining with the correct name, please mention your correct name in the chat box. Also, I will mention the resume time in the chat box, so see you all after the break. All right, students, welcome back, and now we will be resuming our discussions. Okay, so Shamima, about the mock, the recording will be available on the EMS portal. Uh, Also, for the copy of this paper, I will ask the support team to share with you this mock exam we are discussing and also the revision details. Okay. Can you please share your email address in the chat box? Perfect. I'll share your email with the team. So you'll be getting the copy of this paper and you will also be guided toward the link for the recorded video. So let's continue our discussion. So we have done the first three tasks. Now let's move on to the task number 4. Now, task 4. This task is about understanding the principles of budgeting and cash management. Complete the following statement about budgets. A budget that has been prepared based on actual volumes is a fixed budget. Because we have an original or fixed budget, and when we change it according to the actual activity, that's a flex budget. Then identify whether the statements are true or false. Standard costs can be used to develop budgets. Yes. A standard labor cost per unit is equal to labor rate per unit into number of hours. That's also true. For finding labor cost, you need labor rate and labor hours. Then 3, complete the following statement. A report that allows actual figures to be compared with budgeted figures after variances are calculated. This is an operating statement in which we write down the profit figures and reconcile with the budget through variances. It's an operating statement. Next. XYZ Limited has a working capital cycle of 35 days. It plans to introduce a new product range which will increase the inventory holding period by 5 days and increase the time taken to collect cash from customers by 14 days. What is the new working capital cycle? The existing cycle is 35. In the working capital cycle, you know that inventory and receivable days are added, payable days are subtracted. Now they're saying inventory days are increasing by 5, so add it, and receivable days are also increasing by 14. So 35, so 35 plus 5 plus 14. 40, 35 plus 5 plus 14, it's 54. The working capital cycle is the period of time that a business takes to pay the suppliers' faults. Working capital cycle is the net cash operating cycle. It's the time gap between receiving your money from the customers and paying the suppliers. It's not only for the supplier days. Otherwise, it's the definition here, time taken to pay the supplier, it simply is payable days, not the working capital cycle. Complete the table by ticking the correct boxes to show whether the items affect cash or profit. If you make a sale on credit, you're not receiving any cash for that, but it's a sale, so profit is affected. When you purchase a non-current asset, you pay for it, but you don't show it in the statement of profit or loss. Depreciation is an expense, not a cash payment. Accrual of expense, again, you haven't paid it, but an expense. When you receive money from customers, it affects your cash. Then next one, JEB is Limited is worried that it might go over its overdraft limit because it plans to buy a new non-current asset. Which three are suitable actions. So the company is worried that if they buy an asset, they'll have to exceed the overdraft limit. It means they are on a sort of cash deficit. So how they can manage the situation? Delay payment to suppliers, delay capital expenditure, increase credit period for customers, increase level of inventory, take a bank loan. Now, if we delay payment to suppliers, yes, maybe if we agree and negotiate with them, we can delay their payments and use this money to manage overdraft and the asset. Or yes, if we are facing a cash flow problem, we can delay the expenditure. But increasing the credit period to the customers, what will happen? You are receiving money late. This is actually going to worsen the problem, not solve it in any way. Same with inventory. Holding more inventory means you are spending more money on inventory and tying up your funds, which could have been used elsewhere. Take out a loan, yeah. So these are the three things which will actually help to ease up the situation. The other two will make it more difficult. So this was all for task 4. It was a short one. Now let's come to task 5. So in your assessment, task 5 and 6 will be for Excel. Task 5 is just simply about some functionalities of Excel. They'll test from chapter 11 only. In fact, chapter 12 spreadsheet. But yes, task 6 will be about spreadsheet functionality tested with a budget. So let's do both of these tasks one by one. Now, students, for practicing the chapter 4 spreadsheet, I told you there is a file available on BPP's website. The link again is given here. I mean, if you go to the EMS portal and open this ebook, you click on it and you save the file. Like I showed you what I get to be saved here. So you'll get this folder, QB Excel spreadsheets. When you open it, we are doing practice assessments. And we are doing the practice assessment 1. So we have the task 5 and 6 answers and also the sheets which we have to open for the assessments. Now, they're saying this task is about preparation of budgets. But Better You is a company that provides short training courses. There are 4 trainers, Alex, Janin, Simon, and Karesh. Better You offers 4 packages, level 1, 2, 3, and the fourth package, complete mindfulness, is all level 1 to 3. So they're selling level 1, 2, and 3 separately, but there is a bundle as well of all of these together. And it has a discount in it. You have been given a spreadsheet, Better You XLS. So if I go here, you can see this one. So you open this one. Now, if I open this sheet, I will here. Now, what this says is you've been given this spreadsheet, Better You, which shows sales figure achieved by each trainer for April to June X6. It contains 2 worksheets, price, sales, and price structure. So if I go to the file, you can see month, trainer's name, courses, and units. This is sales and this is price structure. Download this if you've already done it. Whenever again you're doing this task, they'll ask you to save it in this format, your initial surname, AAT number, and task number. So like initial, surname, AAT number, date in this format, and then write this PA1 task 5 or whatever they say to write it here. This is because personal practice assessment 1 task 5. If the exam is saying some other thing, you write that name. Now, first part, complete the following in the sales worksheet. So if I go to the Excel file, this is the sales worksheet. And what we have to carefully read the instructions and apply them. Insert a column between the column course and units and give it the title unit. So between course and units, they're asking us to insert. So right click, insert. In fact, no, this one you click on D and then insert. And they want us to write here unit price. So we did the first instruction for 1 mark. Then in column D, from cell D2 to D49. So let's see. Column D, D2 till D49 here. What they're saying us to do? Use a lookup function to insert the prices on the sales tab by using information in the structure. So basically, what information we have on this sheet sales, like Alex has sold how much level 1 courses, how much level 2 courses. We need to know the unit price. Now, unit price is actually given here. Level 1, the price, 2, 3, and complete package. They're asking us to fill up the prices here, like whatever is the price for level 1, 2, and accordingly. For this kind of a scenario, one thing is manually, but again, that's not the purpose of Excel. We need to use lookup. And again, because the prices are arranged in the form of a column, we will use VLOOKUP. What now if I start entering VLOOKUP is equal to VLOOKUP, bracket open. We want to look at the price for level 1, comma, where is the information available? This page, select this table, comma, the information we need is in the second column. 1, 2, 2, comma, and exact. So you can see we got 79. Now we have to copy this formula in the entire column. But before we can do that, I'm using absolute cell reference. Okay. So in the table, dollar a dollar two, whenever we need to fix a table reference or any cell, we use this dollar symbol as we've discussed in the lecture. And now I can just copy paste to all of the cells in the column. And within seconds, we will get the answer. So we did this one. Now they're saying add a column in F called total value and apply to a formula to all cells in that column to show the total value of units sold in each row. Okay. So column F should be called as total value. What they're saying for this? Apply a formula to all cells in this column to show total value of the units sold. So simply selling price into number of units sold is equal to 79 into 50. And simply copy paste it. In each row, we are multiplying number of units sold with the selling price. We got the values. Next, use AutoSum in F50 to know the total value of sales. Go to F50. This is F50, you can see. AutoSum, you can do AutoSum. Just click on this in the home ribbon you get and press enter. You get the total sales. Format the numbers in this column to contain 1,000 separator and make F50 bold. So in this column, there should be 1,000 separator. Select all the values. This comma is a 1,000 separator, but they did not tell us about decimals, so let's not use decimals. And this one should be bold. So you can see this Excel question is just reading the instruction and applying it on the file. Now, we have done till here. Part B. On a new worksheet, create a pivot table and a pivot chart showing total value of sales, course-wise and tutor-wise. How we create a pivot table, that too is very simple. Students, what you will do is you select all the table, you go to insert, and you go to pivot table, and they are asking us to insert on a new worksheet. Press OK. Here we have the information. Now we should be showing here what things are important here. Total value of sales, course, and tutor. So I'll select those things. You need to know the trainer's name, the course they sold, and its value. Now just arrange one in the column, one in rows, and you have made the table quickly. You can see now we have Alex, Jan, and Karesh and Simon total done tutor wise. And also we have total for level 1, level 2, level 3, and complete. So that's how a pivot table is quickly made. We could also change bring trainer like this and course here, then also it will be the same thing, but just now rows contain tutor details and qualification details are in here. They also asked us to make a pivot chart. If you see, create a worksheet, create a pivot table and a pivot chart. Making pivot chart once the table is very, very simple. Click on this option pivot chart and you can make it simply like this. So you have two device, complete qualification, sales, level 1, 2, and 3 individually. Rename this sheet as total values. This sheet we added new, it's called as total value. Total values and add a chart title, total sales value April to June. For the chart we made, we will write the title, total sales value April to June. So then next one, create a new copy of the sales worksheet and name it as budget sales. Whatever is the sales worksheet, this one, create a copy, right click. You can see the option for create a copy here, move or copy. So create a copy, okay. We got this and they're saying name it budget sales. Then they are saying in July to September, the total sales are predicted to be less than 5% less than April to July. The next quarter sales are 5% less. In column H, use a formula to calculate the sales for each row, and its title will be budget sales July to September. Go to column H and call it as budget sales July to September. They're saying whatever is the sale in this row, it will be 5% less. So just take the total value, and for 5% less, it means you multiply with 95%. Copy this formula to all of the cells. So you have the budgeted sales for the next quarter. So this was all for the task 5. The task 5, they will not test your knowledge for any management accounting concept specific. It just will be focusing on chapter 12 exclusively. So make sure you practice all the illustrations from chapter 12 because the illustrations in the chapter will give you hands-on practice on all the functionalities of spreadsheet you need to know for the assessment. Students, before we do the next task, please tell me if you have got clear with task number 5. All right, that's brilliant. Now moving on to the last task of the assessment. Last task 16, task 6 for 16 marks. This task is about budgets and deviations. Maxwell Company is a company that manufactures high quality cosmetic creams. The company had originally budgeted to make and sell 40,000 units of the cream in the quarter. However, it actually made 45,000. So we can see there is a change in the budgeted and the actual activity. Budget is for 40,000 units, but you made 45,000 units. Again, from the list, they're asking us to download this worksheet. PA Task 6, Maxwell Company. Let me close this one. Um, this is a worksheet they're asking us to open. Okay. Saving instructions are given. Now, complete the following in the question worksheet. So if I go to this one, we have an information worksheet and a question worksheet. Now, you can see they have given the original budget in the question sheet and information, the same thing, but they also gave us the actual results. So it's a question for variance analysis from the information we can see. Now they're saying open this file, obviously the rename file because you'll rename it with your initial and everything. Calculate the percentage to flex this budget in line with the information about sales and insert the percentage into D1. Basically, we have to flex the budget because original budget is for 40,000. Now we want it for 45,000 units. They're saying go to cell D1 in the question worksheet D1, and write the percentage how much you want to flex. Now, how we will find a percentage of that? It's very simple. We are making a budget for 45,000 instead of 40,000. This will be a fraction. Here you can see percentage. So it's a flexing of 112.5%. We haven't done this in the class because it wasn't in the book, but yes, sometimes for making a flex budget, they can ask you to find the percentage of flexing. So that will be simply actual units over original units and express it as a percentage. Now, in cell D3, enter the title flex budget. D3, this one, right, flex budget. Calculate the flex budget for cells D5 to D14 using absolute referencing where appropriate. Obviously, for the variable costs, we will have to increase them by 112.5%. So let's see how we're going to deal with it. Now, first is revenue. Revenue is variable. So one way of flexing was the one we learned in the class that 920,000 should have been divided with 40,000 multiplied by 45. But because we've already made this fraction, 45 or 40, we don't need to do that. We simply can be doing this multiplied with the percentage. Enter. And yes, because all the variable costs have to be multiplied with D1, so we can make D1 as absolute. $D, $1, all the variable costs multiplied with this. Now the same formula we can do for the next three materials. We can do for labor. We can do for variable overheads. We can't do that for fixed overhead. For fixed overhead, whatever is the budget, it will stay the same. You can see within seconds we were able to flex the budget because we just multiplied each of them with the percentage, so it will automatically increase the variable costs. We only can do this for material, labor, and variable overheads. We cannot do it for fixed overhead. Fixed overhead are same. So we've done this part too. Now in cell E3, enter the actual results. Use copy paste to take actual result from the information you have given into the correct position in column. So this is the information. These are the actual results. We have to copy this. Control C and they're asking us to paste in column E. So we got it quickly. In cell F3, insert the title variances. This is F and this is variances. Calculate the variance for each revenue and each cost, showing adverse variances as a negative figure with a minus sign. Show these in column F. So now for sales student, you should do actual minus budget because of the signs basically. Because if we do actual minus flex automatically, if actual is greater, that will show a favorable, otherwise it was as a negative. So we got 5,000 positive. For all others, do budget minus actual because they are costs. So control C, control V. And we quickly have answers along with negative positive signs. So for cost, wherever actual was greater, it's showing it worse. Wherever it was less, it's showing favorable. So we got all the variances. In cell A15, insert operating profit. A15 title operating profit. A15 call it operating profit. Use a formula to calculate operating profit for original budget, flex budget, and actual results. Again, finding profit is easy. For each of these is equal to revenue minus all the costs.
Sorry, can I just ask, with the revenue and the variances, why did you do actual results minus a flexed budget and the other
Okay,
way around for the rest?
sure. In any kind of variance analysis, it's always the difference between budget and actual. But because they told us for the signs here that if there is a favorable variance, it should be positive and adverse should be negative. So for sales, we know the link is already opposite. For sales or revenue, if actual is greater, that is favorable, right? That's why I did actual minus flags so that the symbol we get for variance favorable or adverse is right. Actual was greater here, so we got 5,000 positive. If I did this budget minus actual, answer would have been 5,000 but negative. Just to don't get into that because variance nature would be opposite then. I have done the other way around. Do you get this?
Okay, that's fine. I understand. Thank you.
So we found the profit for budget. I'll use the same formula for flex and actual results. At in each column, we took sales minus all the costs. Now calculate the overall variance in F15. In F15, now there are two ways to do that. Either sum of this or do these two different. Profit as per flex budget minus the actual. Again, this is profit. It will act like revenue. So this minus profit. Actual profit minus budget profit. So whenever it's sales or profit, do actual minus budget to know the exact favorable or adverse thing. So we get this answer. Use conditional formatting in column F to show all favorable variances in green and all adverse variances in red. That's very simple. Positive numbers, we can show them as green and negative as red. So select these numbers, conditional formatting, highlight cell rows. Um, First thing is we can do any value that is greater than 0 means that will be positive. We want it to be green. And again, the same selection, conditional formatting, highlight cells rule. Less than any numbers that are less than 0 means they're negative, so correct. So we have quickly done the conditional formatting. Then make sure all column headings are bold. So they're already bold. Don't need to do that again. And with this, the question is done. And so we have discussed all of the assessment. So students, are all of you clear with the questions we've done? All right, that's excellent. I'll just make sure again to practice maximum questions when you're preparing for the assessment. And good luck with your preparations. One more thing about the class, because we just have completed the course of management accounting techniques today. We will not be having a class next week. It will be exam break. So on 19th of August, there is no class. And then on 26th, we'll be starting with the next module, which is business awareness. All right, students, let's then conclude it for today. Sure, I'll just send an email to the support team for that, okay? So looking forward to seeing you all on the next module, students. Take care. Good luck for the exam, and goodbye for today.